So, as you guys know, Joe Biden has been trying to tout and get Republican endorsements. Now, he got, I believe, 100 Republican endorsements yesterday. One of them was former Michigan Republican Governor Rick Snyder. Now, you probably remember Rick Snyder because of the Flint water crisis. Rick Snyder was in trouble because it turned out that he was getting money from the company that basically had the water switched out. And so what ended up happening was the water source was filled with lead, and it was poisonous, and it was going out to Flint, Michigan, where a lot of African Americans live. And so it's something that, black activists and people who are activists for black people were talking about for years, man, for years. The Flint water crisis, because they had lead poisoned water, fertility rates, shrunk completely, and it was lead-filled water that was going to this community. And it was largely because of Governor Rick Snyder. And Joe Biden not only got this endorsement, he actually touted this endorsement. He sent this out in an email. Biden Press email account sent this out. As you can see, it's Biden Harris for immediate release. ICYMI and USA Today op-ed. Former Michigan Republican Governor Rick Snyder declares he is voting for Biden. So it's just really interesting to see this, because when you see this kind of a thing, the liberal hypocrisy and inconsistency is really frustrating and very annoying. So when Joe Rogan, he didn't even endorse Bernie Sanders. He just said, I'll probably vote for Bernie Sanders. And Bernie shared out the video, and he got an onslaught of liberal hate for literally multiple days, guys. I cannot, this is not something where there were a couple of people who were angry about it. Liberal organizations were coming out and condemning this move. They were digging up old tweets of Joe Rogan from years ago. This was a hit job that was very coordinated and lasted for multiple days. This is not something that was minor. And yet they're going to sit here and tout the endorsement of the governor who was responsible for the Flint water crisis, which affected black people disproportionately. It's incredibly tone deaf, it's incredibly dumb, but most importantly, it's a hypocrisy and an inconsistency. Not only that, but I think the biggest problem they had with Joe Rogan was his position on LGBT issues. Snyder ignites controversy with anti-LGBT appointment to a civil rights board. This was back in February 12, 2018, which is not long before he left. Now, I understand that a week before he left, he implemented something that would make it so that LGBT people can't be discriminated by the state in terms of getting jobs. People felt insulted because they said, why did you wait till the last week? He did a lot of anti-LGBT things, as well as trying to stay silent on the matter as long as possible. So even on those issues, he's not good. And that's typically how Republicans are. Republicans typically are not good on LGBT issues. So how are you going to go after Joe Rogan's endorsement, which really wasn't even an endorsement, honestly. He just said that I'll probably vote for Bernie. That's really what he said. And then you're going to tout the endorsement of somebody who was literally responsible for the Flint water crisis. How exactly are you going to do that? And this kind of thing needs to be pointed out. We have to put pressure on them for these kinds of things. And don't forget this. I mean, this is something that's very important to remember next time you're in a situation like there was with Joe Rogan and Bernie Sanders.